Hello everyone, welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 8th. Once again, nice to see you in today's English Literature lecture for semester 1. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the textual activities from the textbook PDF that you probably must be having with you. In case you don't have, it will be provided to you along with the lecture in the group. Well, in the last lecture, we acknowledged ourselves with the understanding of the different figures of speech, as the entire poem is an excellent, a wonderful example of personification. So not just personification, we understood about the 22 different figures of speech that come across, or out of which a few we need to learn in class 8, and some of them you will be learning in class 9 and 10 respectively. Well, the content about the figures of speech has been given to you on page 75 in the material, as stated to you earlier. So all in all, we have come across all the necessary things that we were supposed to learn in the poem, right from the recitation of the poem to the glossary, to the understanding of the stanzas line by line, the paraphrase, the understanding of what the poem is and what message did it give to us. We understood about how the water spoke to us and told us that different forms it exists in, well, saying that it is one thing and it is many too. So today in this lecture we will be discussing the textual activities that we come across. So I hope you have the textual PDF with you. Well, if you do not have, in the material PDF it's already given to you. So in both the places you have the same content along with some additional content. So have it with you, the textual PDF on page number 6 of the text, and in the material you will be having on page number 5. So either of the things you may have in your hand for your reading reference. The first question that is given to you, that is activity 5, is about explain I am one thing, I am many things. So once again a question has been given to us. You can see only a few lines have been given, but the answer has already been given to you in your material PDF, which is on page number 8. As you can see, explain I am one thing, I am many things. So I'll just go through this and discuss with you the important question that we need to understand. In the poem Water Dance by Thomas Locker, so remember the name of the poet, water talks about itself. So water here taken as a person personified to be having living qualities, human qualities, is talking to us. We all know that no life is possible without water on this earth, on our planet, isn't it? That is the earth. So water as a substance is just one thing. We can very well acknowledge, understand that water is just one element, but it exists in different forms in the nature. But it exists in many forms. They are the rain, mountain, stream, waterfall, lake, river, sea, mist, clouds, storm front, thunderhead, thunderstorm, and the rainbow. Thus, in spite of being one substance, nature has presented water to us in many forms. Therefore, it is saying, I am one thing, I am many things. Although water is just one thing, but it is available, it can be seen by us, it can be experienced by us as many forms. Therefore, the title is justified by the water itself. And we explain the same thing as I am one thing, I am many things. Well, that's not the end. Water keeps on moving in an endless circle throughout the world, throughout our world, our planet, isn't it? Water comes to the earth in the form of rain and returns back. After passing through different forms, it goes back to the sky and forms cloud over there, isn't it? And then again it reappears and comes back to us in the form of rain after some processes that happen in the sky. The formation of the clouds, the thundering, the lightning, the rainbow, and finally reaching to us as a form of rain, and again it goes back to the sky. So in this way the water cycle keeps on moving. Therefore water keeps on moving in an endless circle throughout the world in different forms since the world, that is the earth, came into existence. And all these forms are not only useful to all living organisms but also add beauty to the nature. So you see how well the answer has been provided to you. Try to learn this answer and write it when asked to you in the test or in examinations. Well, so this is a textual question, hence you will have to write this in your fair book. So along with the explanation of the things that I take along, I will be discussing what to write and how to write in the fair books. Many times students call and ask about, sir, how to write in the fair book. So since we are completing this chapter today, so along with this I will try to give you an idea how to prepare your fair book. So when you start writing the chapter, write the date, write the title of the chapter, unit 1, landscape, and in the bracket you write water dance, just as I have written on the board, and I have been writing this for the last few lectures. So you will have a clear idea how to write. Well, I have not mentioned the name of the poet. You can write Thomas Locker as well. Then the first thing that you will be writing in your fair book is the poem. So write the poem as given to you in your fair book, followed by the glossary words. But which glossary words? You will have glossary words in your material as well as you have the glossary words in your textual PDFs. Say I'm talking about two PDFs. One is a material PDF, one is a textual PDF. So for writing the glossary, you will utilize the textual PDF and not the material PDF. Well, material PDF may contain some additional words that may not be available in the, so that is for your learning and exam preparation purpose. So for the purpose of preparing the notebook, you will make use of the textual PDF. On page number 5 you've been given just after the end of the poem, after the name of the poet Thomas Locker. Below that you have the glossary box given to you highlighted. So write those glossary words after you have written the poem in your fair books. So I hope how to start the fair book is now clear to you. Two things I've already said: writing the poem first, followed by the glossary. Well, next thing, as you see in the textual PDF, and we just discussed, that was the important question, that is, explain I am one thing, I am many things. So this question and the answer to this, which is already given to you in the material PDF, needs to be written in the fair book. So without fail, write this down. So three things I have cleared about how to start writing the fair book: poem, the glossary, followed by the question answer. Well, the next activity that you have in your textual PDF is identify me from my description, choose from the bracket. So I will discuss this with you in details, a bit of the explanation I'll give it to you, and this you don't have to write in your fair book. Remember, this is not to be written in your fair book. So far I gave you three things to write in your fair book. Later on I'll let you know what you have to write in the fair book. So let's continue. Identify me from my description, choose the correct bracket. You got 5 descriptions about the poem, isn't it? So let's describe and read each one of them and try to find out which word given in the bracket suits the description. I don't speak much, but I am everywhere. I shine bright at night. I look threatening. I am a welcome pleasure. I am lot yet little water. So 5 different descriptions with 5 different stipulated words given to us in the brackets: silver moonlight, distant seas, countless droplets, warm sunlight, silent air, and darkened sky. So let's go through each one of them and try to pick up a suitable word over here, and alternatively I'll try to write this on the board for you. Well, first one, I don't speak much, but I am everywhere. Now think about a word. Is it silver moonlight? As a trial and error method, silver moonlight, well, can we frame silver moonlight for the first one? Well, probably not, isn't it? Well, it does not show any sign of what it is saying over here. Distant seas, no. Countless droplets also does not give us the idea about I don't speak much, but I am everywhere. Further looking into the word warm sunlight, that also does not tell us about the description or give us any idea about this thing. But yes, the next word, the second last word, silent air, where the word silent clearly gives an indication that yes, it is the answer to the first description given to us, that is, I don't speak much, but I am everywhere. It is the silent air. Air is all around us, isn't it? Air is all around us, which has moisture within it. So the first description suits over here. So let's write the answer for the activity 6. You can mark it in your PDF, and you can alternatively use it in the material PDF as well. So you can just mark it, put a small hyphen, just I'll do over here for the first sentence, and the subsequent sentences I will just write the answers. So we have identify me from my description, and the words have been given the brackets. The first one, I don't speak much, but I am everywhere. So you can just put a hyphen over here and write the answer next to it in your PDF if you have the copy of it, or you can write it in your rough books or so, or just mark it over there. I don't speak much, but I am everywhere. It is silent air. The second one, I shine bright at night. So something that is shining bright at night. Now obviously it is not the sun that shines bright at night, so you can't take warm sunlight. But yes, the very first one gives you a clear hint, a clear idea. It is the silver moonlight, isn't it? So leaving aside all the other words, one we've already used, silent air, we can rightfully write the word silver moonlight. So I'll just be writing the answer, you can note it down. Alternatively, you can mark it in your PDF. So the next one, I look threatening. So what is that word? What is that form of water that looks threatening? It's describing itself. I look threatening. It is the dark sky, the darkened sky, isn't it? When the sky is completely dark. Particularly the small children are a bit scared with that scenario, isn't it? So darkened sky has a lot of lightning in it, dark clouds everywhere, the sunlight has disappeared, there is very little light. So darkened sky is the word that suits the description for I look threatening. The description is apt. The fourth one, I am a welcome pleasure. Now what is a welcome pleasure? What can we consider a welcome pleasure out of the words given to us? 3 words you already utilized. We are left over with 3 words: distant seas, countless droplets, and warm sunlight. Well, when the rain has gone away, when the clouds have scattered and the sunlight is back shining itself on the earth, on our planet, we say it's a welcome pleasure. So warm sunlight can be regarded as a welcome pleasure. Note it down. Warm sunlight in its description is apt for this one. The fifth and the last one, I am lot yet little. So the form of water describing itself that I am so many, I am a lot, but still I am very little. Well, the one that is given to us is countless droplets, isn't it? The word is countless droplets. We can say there are a number of droplets of water floating in the air, isn't it, when it starts raining. So it comes down in the form of droplets, countless droplets, innumerable. But that each droplet is a little water. Therefore, the description I am lot yet little water. Each droplet is a little amount of water. Therefore, countless droplets is the most suitable description for this word. Note it down. So these were the 5 different descriptions and 5 words utilized for them. If you can just go through it: silver moonlight, distant seas, countless droplets, warm sunlight, silent air and darkened air, sky were 6 different words. There was one word extra over here, that is distant seas, which we have not made use of. So out of the 6 words, 5 words have been chosen appropriately and have been written down. Well, so I hope the activity 6 is now clear to you. What was to be done over here? Well, activity 7 we've already performed. While in the last lecture, when we were understanding about the figures of speech, you can read for yourself over there. We came through this. In activity 8, the next activity, we have got a topic related to grammar. Well, it is not that you are learning adjectives for the very first time. You have come across adjectives earlier classes also, standard 5, 6, 7, probably in 4th also. So we know what adjectives are. Adjectives are describing words. A word which describes a noun is called an adjective. It gives us some additional information about that noun, how the thing is. So here we have an activity about describing words. Adjectives are describing words used to give more meaning to a noun. So give 5 adjectives you would associate with the following words, and the first one has been done for us. So have a careful look in the PDF. The word is mother. Mother is a noun. Well, we all acknowledge that, isn't it? 5 different words describing the quality of mother, how a mother is. So the word loving mother, where the word loving is an adjective. So we should be able to think about such words which are appropriate, which are apt, which are suitable to describe a noun. So you don't pick up any word which does not suit the noun. So we will be choosing words for adjectives for the following words like friend, match, beauty, food and movie, and writing it in our books. So you will be writing this in your fair book, activity 8. So note it down. The example is loving mother, gentle mother, strict mother. Yes, all these words are apt, very, very suitable. Good mother and working mother. Well, the next word we have the word friend. So let's write with the word friend. The adjective for the word friend is bosom friend, intimate friend, cooperative friend, sensible friend, and how can you forget, faithful friend, isn't it? So let's write these words for the word friend. Activity 8. Adjectives are describing words used to give more meaning to a noun, and give 5 adjectives for the word friend. The word is friend, and 5 adjectives that can be associated with the word friend. Note it down as I write it on the board. Bosom friend, intimate friend, faithful friend, cooperative friend, sensible friend, well, alternatively, if you find some other suitable describing words for your friend, you can definitely keep that in your mind and you can write it as well. Well, the next word is match. So we can say a good match, matching something. So good match, a disappointing match. So we are using a negative word as well. A good match, a disappointing match, a dull match, a thrilling match, disgusting match. So these are a few words that we can associate with the word match. Note it down. Well, the next word that we come across is beauty, a very common and a useful word. Beauty. For beauty we can say natural beauty, artificial beauty, inner beauty, rare beauty and physical beauty. Let's write the answers. Natural beauty, artificial beauty, inner beauty, so rare beauty and physical beauty. Second last word, we have the word food. Let's describe the word food with the help of some adjectives. Fresh food, stale food, isn't it? We must eat fresh food and we must avoid eating any kind of stale food. Delicious food, packed food, instant food, street food, isn't it? Homemade food, and there could be some more that comes to your mind as I just added a few right now, isn't it? Let's write them. Describing words for the noun food. Well, food is a noun and the word fresh, stale, delicious, packed and instant are adjectives. Well, the purpose of writing is that we clearly have an idea about what is a noun and what is an adjective. Well, fresh food, stale food, delicious food, packed food, instant food, well, finally the last one that we have is the word movie. Well, having said the word movie, it would be very, very tempting for you, isn't it? Well, right now theaters are locked down or there are limited access to the theaters. We can say after having watched a movie, the movie was say a boring movie. We can say exciting movie, suspense movie, a romantic movie, a interesting movie, a silent movie, and there could be other names that can be describing or that can describe a movie. So let's write a few of them. A boring movie, an exciting movie, a romantic movie, interesting movie, silent movie. So here we wrote a few describing words for the nouns given to us. Well, this is only for the learning purpose. Similarly, in tests you may be asked to write describing words in MCQ format or in a direct format as we just wrote just now in the test. So accordingly you should be prepared for the same. Well, moving ahead with the next activity given to us on page number 7 in our textual PDF as well as in the material PDF. You have the exercise about adding the letters ER to an adjective, making it a comparative adjective. Well, we learnt about adjective, isn't it? Now when the letters ER are added to the adjective, we are able to form its comparative form. We learnt about the degrees of comparison in the earlier class, isn't it? Class 7 you must have learnt. So adding ER to an adjective makes it comparative adjective. Sometimes the adjectives changes its spelling when you add the letter ER. Now that is an important thing that you need to acknowledge, remember and learn. So you can see 3 examples given to you over here. The word heavy, H-E-A-V-Y, heavy. I am emphasizing on the letter Y because we have to make a change over here. While applying the letter ER and making the word heavy, which is in the positive degree, and I need to make the comparative form of the comparative degree. I need to apply the letter ER after eliminating the letter Y. Remember this, H-E-A-V, the letter Y is dropped out, eliminated, and instead of that we are writing the letter I first. We are adding the letter I and then we are applying ER into it. Let me teach you this thing by writing it on the board. We learned about this in the earlier class as well. So the word the adjective given to us, which is in the positive form, and the comparative. So the rule as I just explained, heavy is a word which is an adjective. So while making its comparative H-E-A-V, we are adding the letter I into it and then we are replacing the letter Y by eliminating it and writing IER. That is how the word is made up, heavier. You acknowledge this in the earlier class as well. Similarly, 2 more words have been given to you, dark and broad, but there is no last letter Y over here. It ends with letter K, so there is no rule for this, but simply you are applying ER into it. Therefore dark plus ER becomes darker, which is the comparative form. Similarly, broad becomes broader by applying ER. So the only thing you need to remember is that when you have the last letter Y, you will have to eliminate that, apply the letter I and then add ER into it. So you have to change the spelling. Now use different comparative adjectives to form sentences of your own like this. See, one space has been provided to you. As you can see, Dash is dash ER then dash. So I can write over here, Raman is taller than Mohan, isn't it? Raman is taller than Mohan. So in the first blank I wrote the noun Raman, name of the person, is, then I have the ER over here. So what is being told to me? Use different comparative adjectives to form sentences of your own like this one. So Raman is taller. I am writing the word tall in the second space given to me. ER is already written over there. Then I am writing the second noun with which I am comparing, that is Mohan. So Raman is taller than Mohan. So likewise you can make sentences of your own by using words. Well, I will give you a few words for writing this exercise. So note it down. Words like smart, easy, ugly, lucky, note it down. Smart, easy, ugly, lucky, confident, another word, that is hardworking. So altogether 6 words I have given you. Make use of these 6 words. Make the comparative form of these words. Smart, I'll just help with one of it. Smart plus ER, smarter, and then you can create a sentence for yourself. Well, this is only be for your practice, to practice more about this exercise that we did. You can do this in your rough book as well. Well, the next activity and the final activity that we are about to discuss is a very important one. It is related to writing. Well, you come across essay writing, letter writing earlier, and we will be having dedicated lectures for that as well. But right now it is time to discuss an old concept that you might have learned earlier, given to you in unit or activity 10 in this unit. So our country is blessed with varied landscapes. Well, the name of the unit is also landscape, isn't it? When the word landscapes come to us, we try to imagine and visualize around us all the scenic beauty, the aesthetics beauty, isn't it? So India has mountains. Yes, India is a land with mountain ranges. You can think about it, you can see about in the videos about all these things, isn't it? In these days today, even if you don't visit them, India has mountains, valleys, waterfalls, deserts, rivers and lakes. So what you got to do is write a paragraph describing your favorite landscape. Before I discuss the topic about landscapes with you, let me discuss with you what paragraph writing is with the help of the image being displayed to you. Let's ask a question to ourselves. What is a paragraph? Paragraphs are comprised of sentences, but not random sentences. A paragraph is a group of sentences organized around a central topic. In fact, the cardinal rule of paragraph writing is to focus on one idea. A solidly written paragraph takes its reader on a clear path without detours. Master the paragraph and you will be on your way to writing gold star essays, term papers and stories. Well, once you have mastered the art of writing paragraphs, you will be able to write other writing text as well. So how do you write a paragraph? A basic paragraph structure usually consists of 5 sentences. The topic sentence, 3 supporting sentences and a concluding sentence. But the secrets of paragraph writing lay in 4 essential elements which, when used correctly, can make an okay paragraph into a great paragraph. So let's discuss in the next image the 4 elements. Element number 1, unity. Unity in a paragraph begins with the topic sentence. So every paragraph has one single controlling idea that is expressed in its topic sentence, which is typically the first sentence of the paragraph. A paragraph is unified around this main idea, with supporting sentences providing detail and discussion. In order to write a good topic sentence, think about your theme and all the points you want to make. Decide which point drives the rest and then write it as your topic sentence. The second important element is order reference to the way you organize your supporting sentence. Whether you choose chronological order, the sequential order, order of importance, or another logical presentation of detail, a solid paragraph always has a definite organization. In a well-ordered paragraph, the reader follows along easily, aided by the pattern you established. Order helps the reader grasp your meaning and avoid any confusion. So you see, ordering of sentence is also very important. Third element is coherence. Coherence is the quality that makes your writing understandable. Sentences within a paragraph need to connect to each other. So there should be relationship with your sentences that you've written. Say the sentence that a reader has read and the next sentence got no connection between them. Then there is no coherence. So sentences should have relationship between them. Hence, the quality of coherence is very important. Within a paragraph need to get connected to each other and work together as a whole. One of the best ways to achieve coherency is to use transition words. Well, these words create bridges from one sentence to the next. You can use transition words that show order, first, second, third, spatial relationships, above, below, or logic, furthermore, in addition, in fact. Also, in writing a paragraph, using a consistent verb tense and point of view are important ingredients for coherency. The last element, that is completeness. Completeness means a paragraph is well developed if all sentences clearly and sufficiently support the main idea, then your paragraph is complete. If there are not enough sentences or enough information to prove your thesis, then the paragraph is incomplete. Usually, 3 supporting sentences in addition to a topic sentence and concluding sentence are needed for a paragraph to be complete. The concluding sentence of the last sentence of paragraph should summarize your main idea by reinforcing your topic sentence. Well, now after having understood how to write a good paragraph, let us write a paragraph about the landscape, that is the need of our time. Well, I have a few things in mind to discuss with you. You can think about the deserts, the Thar desert. You can think about the Ghats, the Western Ghats, the coastal regions, or any such of your choice. So I will be discussing with you 2 landscapes today. So have a look at the image being displayed on your screen. The Thar desert. The Thar desert spreads across a vast region of 20,000 square kilometers. More than 1/3 of the Thar desert lies within the boundaries of India and the rest in Pakistan, popularly known as the Great Indian Desert. It is rumored that the Thar desert is anywhere between 4,000 to 10,000 years old. Its vastness is as big as the sky and covers a major part of Rajasthan and stretches to Punjab, Haryana and Gujarat. Things to do in and around Thar desert: explore the Royal Umaid Bhawan Palace and the Mehrangarh Fort in Jodhpur, enjoy camel safaris, parasailing, paramotoring, quad biking and dune bashing in Jaisalmer. Visit the Golden Temple and Jallianwala Bagh at Amritsar. Enjoy the best of paragliding and zip lining in Saputara and more. Well, the next I would like to discuss with you as a part of paragraph writing is the islands. How can we forget the island, isn't it? So have a look at the image of the underwater scuba diving. The best landscapes in India are incomplete without its famous island of Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands, located in the Bay of Bengal. Andaman is an archipelago of more than 3,000 islands, whereas Lakshadweep comprises of 36 atolls. Now, a new word for you. What is the meaning of atolls? Well, atolls means a ring-shaped reef, island, or a chain of islands formed of coral. Well, let's continue. So 36 atolls that are located in the Lakshadweep Sea, filled with lagoons, coral reefs and rich marine life. These islands are perfect for water sport enthusiasts and for other recreational things and for tourists. Things to do in Andaman and Nicobar Islands: snorkeling at the Elephant Beach, scuba diving, swimming with elephants and parasailing in Havelock Islands, glass bottom boat ride in the North Bay Coral Island, banana boat ride in the Port Blair, romantic walk on the white sands of the Radhanagar beach and much more. Things to do in the Lakshadweep Islands: enjoy scuba diving in the Kalpani Island, canoeing in the Minicoy Island, indulge in kite surfing in the Kadmath Island and witness the exciting tribal dance in the Kalpani Island. Well, so this was the few landscapes that I tried to describe with you. Alternatively, you can write about a paragraph about a landscape of your own choice. So, for homework, you will be writing the landscape, about the landscape that I try to discuss with you. Note it down. This activity number 10. That is going to be the homework for today. Activity number 10. Writing a paragraph about a landscape of your choice. Your landscape could be a river side, it could be an ocean, it could be a desert, it could be a mountain, or any of your choice. So I hope you understood well about all that I tried to teach you. See you soon in the upcoming lecture. Till then, take care, have a nice day, and goodbye.